Unlike most of the students here at Emory, I wasn't born in the United States. I was born and raised in South Korea for almost all my life. During the first week of Emory experience, I felt hopeful that I could fit in here perfectly. One day, I had a chance to attend a networking night. I approached someone in a business suit and I found his company interesting. However, whenever he couldn't understand my questions correctly, I started to feel insecure about myself and began to doubt my inadequate English skills. To have meaningful conversation, you have to connect with someone, like almost become a friend with them. However, I couldn't express my thoughts to other people in English as well as I could have if I were speaking in my native language. I felt alienated from everyone else at the networking event. I felt alone and intimidated because I lacked proficiency in English. Problems stemming from the language barrier were ingrained in my everyday life. I felt this limitation when I was getting to know brothers of fraternity that I was interested in during the social rush. It was frustrating because I knew I could do better if I was to speak it in Korean. Furthermore, I faced the similar hardships in classes when I had to give an oral presentation to the class. I felt like my throat was closing up, my mouth got dry, and my heart started pounding to the point I could hear my pulse in my ears. Eventually, I hit my low point and felt hopeless. Since this is how my experience during my first semester in Emory started off, I was worried about my next 4 years in college. However, I came to realize that I am not the only one at Emory who struggles with these problems. The language barrier existed for almost every international student. One day, I had an international lunch meeting at Duck. Our conversation had a lot of unpredictable subjects because everyone had different experiences. For example, when we were talking about culinary habits, since we had been exposed to so many different cultures of food, we had different food preferences. Some of us preferred chicken tikka masala, while I preferred breadwurst and kimchi. I thought to myself, what if it were all the same? What if everyone's favorite food was pepperoni pizza? Wouldn't it be much more boring? Then I finally learned how to appreciate the diversity and I no longer felt ashamed of my own culture. When I first came here, I thought my accent was something to be ashamed of, but I don't feel that way anymore. Plenty numbers of students and even professors have their own accents, just like we all have different food preferences. I don't think there is anything wrong with diversity in English proficiency. Now I realize not being perfectly fluent in English is nothing to be worried about because I can always improve it by investing more time into practicing.